Now, this morning in the studio, we are joined by a different guest to follow up on the conversation from a mental health perspective. We're joined by Joy Iseki in the studio this morning. She's an emotional wellness consultant, a therapist, and a mental health advocate, and also the founder of the Joy Iseki International. Good morning, Joy.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Good to have you.
Good to be here.
Happy New Year!
I wish you the same. Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm perfect. Thank you.
All
You
right.
look perfect.
Okay, so with Tolu Thompson, we were discussing mental health and sensitivity, particularly on the streets of Twitter, because
Okay.
Kemi and I think we're on the same page.
Yes, that Twitter is
It
toxic.
can be
It can be toxic.
a toxic environment.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now, with social media and being sensitive to the issues before posting, what do you think? Especially when it comes to Twitter.
Okay, as regards to the mental
Yes,
health.
as regards to using social media and any mental health. A lot of research has come out to say that the younger generation is going through a lot of depression
Yeah.
and things like this as a result of social media. They have pinned social media to the cause of a lot of mental health issues and challenges in younger people's lives. Is this accurate? Is this correct? And what is the truth behind it?
Okay, so if I get you, you're saying that the impact of social media
On
on young
mental health,
people.
yes.
Okay. All right, I will focus on the Nigeria space
Yes, please.
because we are actually Nigerians and I
Yeah.
want us to be focused locally.
Yes.
Okay.
And for me, I actually feel what you said is true. There's a high level of relationship between the toxicity on social media, Twitter, in this
Particularly,
case,
yeah.
and the young adults.
Right.
Young adults
Right.
in the sense that from 18 years to 25. And most time it has to do with what is happening, what conversation is being led, what is being said. And these people see things on social media, they compare themselves to what is ongoing on social media. And there's a standard most times on social media as to how we should behave, how we should dress, how we should talk, how we should act. And then if I'm checking and I feel I don't measure up, that can affect my self-esteem and how I see myself. So that's where the link towards depression sets in.
Right.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
But this is not supposed to be.
It's not so.
Because many of these things are unreal. You might never meet these people.
These people.
But then we're in a social environment. So we are all interconnected. Whatever is happening somewhere has impact on the other person.
people,
Yeah.
So it depends now on the lead conversationist, the influencers, the people who have a say, who have a kind of lead. I'm always asking people, when I post something, what is my motive? Do you understand? If each of us can have that responsibility, take responsibility for our neighbor, because I may be more confident than the next person. So our job is to hold each other's hand. So I have to be quite careful how what I post will affect the other person. But at the same time, I cannot also blame the lead conversationist entirely because we don't have control over the next person. There's a limit to everybody's control. I have control over what I see. If something is affecting you too much, and you feel that whatever this person is posting, the images they are posting, I'm feeling attacked, I'm feeling inferior. What do? Can't you leave social media?
Yeah, unfollow.
Can't you unfollow? You have control in that regard, right?
Yes.
So take charge over what you have control.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. So wait, I even want to ask you now, do you even believe that Twitter is actually, would you say it's toxic?
I wouldn't say Twitter is toxic
Okay.
because that was not the intention, I think.
Okay.
Yes.
I would say toxicity might happen within Twitter, just like it does in anywhere else. It depends on, I have had many clients from Twitter. I have had many, laughter moments on Twitter. Do you understand? And then I've had toxic moments on Twitter. So it's part of life. It depends on what we're focused. Some people came for the violence. And to
Sure.
those ones, Twitter is always toxic. For me, I would say Twitter can be toxic. Okay? But it depends on you.
As an individual.
Yes. What are you there for? What content do you feed on?
All right. So let us actually have a look at, I have to agree now with what you've said because, apart from, this toxicity that can be apparent on every social media, actually, as a matter of fact, Twitter is actually a great marketplace.
Yes,
Exactly. Exactly.
All right, so let's have a look at the case study so that we understand, where we're pulling these conversations from. So this is actually, so Cardi B tweeted a post saying that she's going to buy an $88,000 bag, and it got people acting very, very, interesting. And Diary of a Niger Girl, I don't know if you follow her on Twitter. She's also actually a mental health advocate.
Advocate,
Very
yeah.
interesting. So I'm going to read the thread of a tweet so that we, you and the
Understand.
audience, we understand the case study that we're going through. So Diary of a Nigeria Girl says, people on Twitter are saying that Cardi B talking about buying a bag worth $88,000 during a pandemic is harmful to others. They say she's reckless and tone deaf and apathetic. I have questions. So she can do this any other time. When will it ever be a good time in the world? Would this be preferable if she tiptoed around how much money she spends, because many people don't have that type of money? If you're mad at Cardi B for talking about a bag worth $88,000, should we also call you insensitive for posting that great meal you had with or without your family, seeing as there are people who can't feed at all or who don't have family to hang out with? Why do you post loving pictures of your children when there are millions of women with fertility issues? How insensitive are you? How about the pictures you posted on your bed chilling? There are homeless people worldwide. And lastly, should we call you tone deaf for reposting a joke and laughing at it, since people have lost family members during the pandemic and are grieving right now? How dare you laugh? So, I feel like Diary of Nigeria Girl has asked questions to, and I was saying it to Tori earlier on the show. I like what Ife does with her Instagram account, in that she attacks or she addresses particular social issues using questions and using a particular format that makes you think.
Actually.
About the things that you're posting. So, do you agree with Ife, Diary of a Nigeria Girl, in the manner in which she has actually, she has painted different pictures. Why would you, for instance, if Cardi B posting a $88,000 bag on our social media is wrong, you posting meal with your family should also be wrong. What is going on here? I know you already said it with, if particular images, you don't like particular images, unfollow said person or whatever. But with posting particularly, we see this mostly on Instagram, because Instagram is sort of like the fake life kind of social media.
Yes, actually, I agree.
Where, fake smiles, everyone
things
seems to be happy.
yeah.
Which, okay. So, with posting, and is there a level of sensitivity a social media user should have when posting?
This is really relative.
Yeah.
Just like the questions the Diary of a Nigeria Girl asked, I think she just giving us space for self-inquiry.
Yes.
Sometimes we say this particular person is doing this, whereas we're also doing it in another way.
Yeah.
Like, look at her now, she's comparing, okay, you post yourself eating, and then there are people that have not eaten.
Yeah.
Now you're saying that because it's a pandemic, she shouldn't get this back. When is the right time? So is Cardi B being insensitive? Well, I wouldn't say yes, because that's her moment, and she has that money in this moment. Will she be alive tomorrow? We don't know.
Exactly.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Sometimes I think that in a way we take things too personally. We feel that we should tell, like I said before, there's this thing, everybody wants to set standard for another person without them knowing that they're actually setting a standard for somebody else. How dare you tell me how to live my life?
Yeah.
So she has the money, right?
Yeah.
She has the money. Because indirectly we are saying we shouldn't post anything.
Exactly.
Because there are people that are naked, even if I wear ordinary clothes and post there. So how dare I post clothes? Post myself with clothes on when there are people without clothes on. It's the same thing.
Yeah,
It's just that because it's Cardi B, and then you are hearing 88,000, and it's a lot of money, right? So I don't think she's being insensitive. I think that we are just being too judgmental and taking things too personally. That's how I feel.
Okay, so but do you feel that there should be a limit to what we put out there, actually?
It depends on you.
As an individual?
Yes, it depends on the individual. Some people are fine sharing a little bit of themselves. Some people go the extra. One thing we need to understand about social media is that that's some people's office. That's how they drive content. That's how, people interact with their content and then they get known, they make money, right? Now, in the sense of mental health now, let's go to the mental health angle. I'm saying if I post this thing and somebody else might be intimidated, how would it make the other person feel? But I don't have the control. Some people are cool with it, and then some people are not. Should I, because of those that are not cool with it, and then I don't post? Does everybody post their life 24 hours? I doubt it. Even keeping up with the Kardashians, if you watch the show, sometimes they'll say, okay, we just want this between our family. I don't think everybody lives online 24 hours. So in a way, if you're being affected so much by the goodies that people post online, I think you should do some self-reflection and look within. Ask yourself, why do I feel this way? Rather than always externalizing the blame. Sometimes we should always do self-inquiry. That's where she's using that question to lead to. Why do I feel? Do I feel jealous? Am I living an unfulfilled life? Am I doing things that I don't like and so I feel jealous? Is there, those things help for self-reflections.
I really like that word self-inquiry. What can we please?
Okay, so let us even talk about people that actually post things that do not really require it being judged. Of course, we live in a world where whether you like it or not, at times people will talk. It's nature, right? But how about people that, because I was having a conversation with Tolu Thompson and I asked her the same question, but what about people that, they've chosen a safe network on that Twitter, but for some reason, what they post or maybe what they posted at a particular point in time got out.
Which happens a lot.
Which happens a lot. And then it started receiving some funny tweets, some funny comments, based on what the person has posted. And perhaps the person is not emotionally strong. So basically, my question for you this morning is, would you say that Twitter is meant for people who are emotionally strong? Because we've already put it out there that it can be toxic. And if you are not ready for everything that Twitter has to bring, even if you are going there to to market yourself or business and everything, you will still see people, because when you're out there on Twitter for the purpose of business, you're still out there to gain, your audience, to know who your audience are. And because you are not completely sure of who you're going to meet or who your target audiences are, you do not know their behaviors, anything can come up. Now, for people who are there for the genuine purpose, would you say that for those that are not strong now, emotionally strong, would you say they're not even supposed to be there in the first place?
What is Twitter? Twitter is a social media. We socialize online, we socialize offline. The difference is just that Twitter is, we're showcasing ourselves to more people than we are ready for. Do you understand? Like, physically, I can see your faces. So to some extent, I might be able to, when I look at your faces and I feel that, okay, what I'm saying is not going so well, I can change. So I have that advantage. That's one thing about physical presence. Now, online, you're not seeing their faces, you don't know how they are reacting and all of that. So I think Twitter is for socializing, and then in the midst of socializing, because we are humans and we are social beings, everything is about socialization and connections. So if you feel emotionally not strong, just like you said, if you feel, I don't know what would determine that, but if you think then you shouldn't go there. I have a friend that just signed up Twitter for like 3 months now. I'm the one with her password. She wanted to stay away for a while. It's simple. Do you understand? For like 3 months now, she logged out and then I changed the password. So I'm the one with her password.
Interesting.
Do you understand? This thing is just about decisions. A lot of times it's easier to blame people because then you absolve yourself of responsibilities. So you're good.
That's very interesting.
Do you understand? There's no big deal. Some people don't use Facebook.
Okay, now let's us leave the online space briefly. Let us come, let's come into like real life settings. Let's contextualize these conversations into real life settings. So is there a time where, is there ever a time where, Tolu Thompson gave a scenario where maybe in school you have passed an examination where most of your colleagues have somehow failed, and because, you don't want to be insensitive to your colleagues, you're thinking, should I celebrate this success or not? And very interesting, with the year that has just passed, 2020, I found that, a lot of people actually had good testimonies.
Yeah.
Which I found very interesting because everybody was saying things like, 2020 has been tough.
Yeah.
Or, the social media trend of saying, where people are asking, where are you finding money? And people saying there's nobody.
Yeah.
So it seems like there has been a lot of positive stories and testimonies from 2020, but then some people are a bit like
They're trying to be sensitive. They don't want to celebrate their achievements and small wins because they are not sure what other people might think of them, or at the same time they're also considering the fact that a lot is going on. So right now might not actually be the time, to actually post.
Yeah. So is there a right or wrong moment to celebrate your own success?
Well, I think the moment is actually not relevant to the event, because whenever an event happens, that's when you want to feel that moment.
Yeah.
You want to savor a celebration.
Yeah.
Right? So, but because of the way 2020 has been, so people are quite sensitive to other people's reactions and responses, right? So for me, the moment is not the problem. How you celebrate, you want to take into recognition the fact that some people had it really badly this year, right? So I would say if we celebrate things in form of gratitude, like, okay, despite everything that happened this year, I am grateful that I achieved this. And with sincerity of heart that expresses that gratitude, I don't think anybody around will see otherwise. The challenge is when we're sharing these things, we're trying to make other people feel small. Or achieved less relative to us. Some people would say, okay, despite 2020, I killed all my goals. It's different from, I am grateful that I did this and this, despite all that happened this year. That way, I am being careful.
So basically, manner of approach,
exactly,
manner of way,
exactly. Because I wouldn't say we should deny somebody else the opportunity to savor the moment, to celebrate. That's part of mental health. One of our healing journey mantras is you celebrating your little wins. It boosts your self-esteem. It's helpful for you because you have to be okay. Even though you are thinking of other people, you should be okay too, right? We don't want to lose you while we're thinking of somebody else. We want everybody else fine, right? So it's the motive. What is the motive? Do you want to brag? Are you doing it for admiration? Do you understand? Or you're actually showing gratitude?
Interesting. Okay, so before we let you go this morning, I want you to let our viewers know what they can do to safeguard their mental health this new year.
Okay, yes. In the coming year, mental health, one thing that we're having issue with as regard mental health is how we separate it from health generally. And that has been the challenge. Part of what we advocate in terms of mental health is that there's no separation. Health is one. Do you understand? Because physical health, if not well attended to, has impact on mental health. Mental health has impact on physical health. The reason why there's a lot of advocacy in this part of the world now is because of the separation. Once we think of mental health, we are thinking of weary. We are thinking of mental illnesses. But that's not true. Do you understand? Whatever has impact on how you feel and act and think, that's your mental health. Your social life, your psychological being, and your emotional being. So if perhaps you're having a lot of bad emotions, you're having a lot of negative emotions, roller coasters, you know that it might have an impact on your mental health. Why? It's already having a negative impact on your emotional health. Your emotional well-being, your social well-being, your psychological well-being is what your mental health is about. Okay? So if I have issues with anger, if I have something that is making me sad all the time, angry all the time, it's like having headache all the time. Let's do it that way so that people will understand it. But because you can't see the emotions sometimes and it's confusing, so you feel like you just throw it by the side. And when you throw it by the side, what happens? It doesn't go. Emotions are just energy emotion. Do you understand? It's there. It's somatized. It stays in your body, stocked up. It will now come back because it was ignored and suppressed in form of the headache, the high blood pressure, the cancer, the different things. Do you understand? So every day, take care of your emotions. Be grateful. When you feel sad, deal with it. Feel your emotions. Don't ignore them. Why am I sad? There's a reason why I'm sad. Don't act, I need to be strong. Do you understand? To be strong is to be weak. To be weak is to be strong. They go together. At some point, I will be weak. We are human. There's something that is making me weak at that point. I deal with it, I get stronger, right? But what we do is that we have negative notion to anything that has to do with sadness, weakness, anger. And so what do? We suppress it because we want to appear put together. And that's where we have challenges with mental health because these things pile up and then one day it blows. Do you understand? So take care of the little things. The little things, the sadness that comes, or it might be something, the complex, how you see yourself, how you feel about yourself, how you think about yourself, all of those things. Take care of them whatever ways. If you need help, seek professional help. See, here, we need to start seeking professional. Everything is not witch.
Yeah.
And everything is not village people.
Village people,
No,
exactly.
everything is not village people. There's a lot around us that we really don't take care of. We just externalize it. That's why when we're talking about social media, I wanted to emphasize the need not to externalize. It's too common here. We don't want to take personal responsibility for internal works. And that's not good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So once you are able to take care of your internal works, pay attention to your inner sensations, the uneasiness and all of that, You do gratitude, you talk to someone. Sometimes this ranting, having a friend to rant to, it helps.
Yeah.
It helps you to vent out, All of those little stuff, do exercises, it helps.
Yeah.
You're good. And the social network, keep friendship.
Right.
Don't be isolated. We need one another. There's a lot of love. There's a lot of support that comes with being connected with one another. Those little things. They
Joy,
pay.
I can listen to you all morning. Actually, I understand now why you are a therapist. I'm just here like, God,
And a
I don't want to
mental
close the
health
show.
But we have to wrap up.
We have to wrap up this conversation. Very fascinating conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us
Thank
in the
you so
studio
much.
this
Thank
morning,
you.
Joy. So, okay, just Kerry, on a final note, if someone wants to reach you for therapy, how do they go about it?
You can connect with me online on Instagram at African Therapist or send me an email, thecounselor@gmail.com or visit www.joyiseki.com.
Okay, fantastic.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, so that is Joy Iseki on the conversation mental health and sensitivity this morning. Very fascinating. A lot of nuggets that I picked up, from this conversation.